Weight gain is something that happens to all of us at one point or another. At times, this is good, such as when we build muscle after spending weeks in the gym. Other times, it's expected, like during pregnancy. And there's also a cultural aspect to it. Think of the freshman 15 in college, where a lot of us gain 15 pounds in our first year out of high school. But many times, weight gain can be harmful, such as in the case of obesity. Obesity affects nearly 2 billion people worldwide. And in the case of obesity, it isn't just the addition of extra weight where we see health problems arise. It's also the accompaniment of comorbidities, or having more than one disease, that adds to the problem. These comorbidities are often type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, and in some cases, cancer. Financially, obesity costs an estimated $300 billion a year annually in the US alone. And while all groups are affected by obesity, it's often the disadvantaged individuals that have to bear the largest burden from this disease. So how do we attempt to fix the problem? Well, as a former personal trainer and trained physiologist, my first instinct is to tell everyone how great exercise is. Exercise is a great lifestyle modification that we can make to improve our health. You see, after we start an exercise program, many changes take place that help us adapt and better respond to future exercise. For example, our heart improves its ability to pump blood to the rest of our body. We also grow new capillaries, which are small vessels that help us carry oxygen to our working muscles, in effect, taking advantage of our improved heart. Similarly, our muscles grow and become stronger and become more economical in how they utilize metabolic substrates. Almost every tissue in the body reaps the benefits of exercise, and improving our exercise habits can directly combat the negative aspects of obesity, independent of weight loss. Stated another way, the positive benefits of exercise take place even if we don't lose weight. So the goal is less about weight loss per se and more about starting and continuing an exercise program. But unfortunately, for a myriad of reasons, not everyone has the ability to exercise. And with less time and more responsibilities than ever, it's becoming more difficult to find the time to exercise. So what do we do? Well, for years, scientists have focused on how our genes control disease, weight gain, as well as exercise habits and adaptation. This type of approach has led to some truly groundbreaking discoveries, but it wasn't until recently that the epigenome's role in disease formation was appreciated. And although we've known about epigenetics for decades, there are many questions left unanswered as to what role the epigenome plays in both obesity, exercise adaptation, and the intersection between these two phenomena. But first, what is the epigenome? Well, if our genome, that is the collection of all of our DNA and genes, is the engine that powers a car, the epigenome can be thought of as performance modifications that we can make to that engine. And in an engine, extra parts may be added or exchanged in order to increase performance. In the case of our genome, however, these performance parts are specific chemical modifications. And it's these modifications that can affect how our genes are expressed and regulated. But sadly, unlike engines, our epigenome is limited in the type of modifications that it can use. And our performance, in large part, is controlled by our environment. And when I say environment, I'm specifically referring to the food we eat and how much we exercise. So this begs the question, how does diet and exercise affect our epigenome? And more specifically, like the performance car metaphor, can we use exercise and current molecular biology techniques to become engineers ourselves and modify our performance or health via the epigenome? I think that we can. Using animal models for both obesity and exercise, I aim to untangle how both of these influences impact how our genes are expressed. I plan on doing this by focusing on specific regions of the genome called gene enhancers. Enhancers are aptly named because they don't encode for genes or proteins per se, but instead enhance a specific gene's expression. Enhancers are associated with a particular set of chemical modifications, and these modifications can be deposited or erased depending on the incoming signals from the environment. But under specific conditions, enhancers can become miswired, leading to a gene either being expressed too much or too little. In obesity, many genes are misexpressed in this way. My focus is to understand the role enhancers play in gene misexpression and its impact in the development of obesity. Moreover, I want to test if exercise can help rescue this misexpression via the correction of miswired enhancers. This will allow for the identification of novel targets that can be used to test new treatment strategies in the development and progression of obesity by harnessing the power of exercise.